that were there. So, set. Ready. Good evening and welcome to the City Council regular meeting for Tuesday, August 18th, 2026. This evening we have a Scout Tristan from Troop 207 and he will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Tristan. This evening, we have any additions or corrections to the agenda?
No, sir.
Seeing none, I'll move the agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We have an agenda. This evening, we do not have any presentations or proclamations. I believe we do not have any additional responses for public comment. And our floor is open here for public comment now. Anyone wishing to come before council and speak on subjects that are not part of this meeting's agenda may do so. Please state your name and address, limiting your comments to 3 minutes or less. If you have additional information, it all can be turned into our clerk, and that'll be shared with council. So with that, the floor is open. Anyone? Anyone? All right, we will consider the public comment closed for this evening and we'll move to the consent agenda. We have items 6A through E, which include bill listings, minutes from the August 3rd regular and work session proceedings. We have a donation acceptance from the Rosemont Leprechaun Days regarding safety equipment and the approval to advertise for bids related to Fire Station 2, which were prepared by CNH Architects and will be solicited by Terra Construction. Any council member wish to pull anything for further discussion or comment? Seeing none, I'll entertain for a consent agenda approval.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Klimpel, second by Essler. Roll, please.
Essler.
Aye.
Klimpel. Aye. Weisenthal.
Aye.
Bresky. Aye.
Consent agenda is approved 4-0. This evening, item number 7, we have no public hearings. Item 8, no unfinished business. And that brings us to item number 9, new business. Request by Northwind Test for approval of preliminary and final plats, planned unit development, master development agreement, plan to construct the first phase of the AEROSPACE testing facility. And with that, I'll turn that over to Mr. Nemchek, Senior Planner.
Thank you, Mayor, council members. This is a request, as you said, for a number of approvals related to the development of the hypersonic aerospace testing facility just south of Meta's data center site off of Blaine Avenue. There are two components the council is being asked to consider tonight. There is a third component that the Planning Commission approved as the sole purview of the commission, which would be the final site and building plan. So tonight, the council is being asked to take action on approval for preliminary and final plats to subdivide the site into 3 parcels, and then the planned unit development master development plan, which includes some deviations from the code, which are listed there before you. Also note this planned unit development approval includes a rezoning of the site from B2 employment to B2 PUD planned unit development. The site itself, as I said, is located immediately south of the site where Meta is building its data center, just west of Blaine Avenue, about a half-mile south of County Road 42. You can see on the aerial photo before you, the yellow outlined area is the site itself. Also in the vicinity is Dakota County Technical College, and then further west is Amber Fields. Site itself is guided for business park development in the city's comprehensive plan. You can see there identified with the star, and then it is zoned currently as B2 employment. The proposed planned unit development, as I said, includes a rezoning to B2 PUD. To give the council an idea of how this overall site will develop, here is a concept rendering provided by the applicant. The first phase of development, which is the final site and building plan of which was approved by the Planning Commission, is here in what would be sort of the northeastern portion of the site. The second phase would be immediately south of that. Future development area, expansion areas shown here in the hatched marked zone. And then the engineering building here up to the north would be a collaborative effort between the University of Minnesota, from whom the applicant has purchased the land, and the applicant themselves to kind of come full circle as part of the Umore Park development in this part of the city. And the site is being considered or developed in a campus-style layout with consistent building design and architecture, all located around a central common area here in the site. Also note, as part of the project, Excel will be constructing a substation in the northeastern portion of the site, and development of the site includes construction of 151st Street, which will be the east-west thoroughfare, replacing privately owned roads that are currently in place here that were used by the University of Minnesota, although these were not public roads and nor were they designed to city standards. With regards to the plat request, the proposed plat does meet the standards of the zoning ordinance for plats or parcels within the B2 employment district. The minimum lot area is 3.36 acres, or the smallest lot area provided is 3.36 acres, which exceeds the 1 acre minimum. And then the 282-foot lot width also exceeds that required by the code of 120 feet. So as I said, the proposed plat would create 3 parcels, 2 buildable lots, and then which would hold phase 1 and the XL substation, as well as 1 outlot. Right-of-way is being dedicated with the plat for the new 151st Street. The city engineer did provide comments. Conformance with those comments contained in their memo, which was attached, is included as a condition of approval in the recommended resolution. Here is the preliminary plat showing the phase 1 layout in context of the site and the different lot areas. And then here's the actual plat itself, which would be recorded. The applicant is requesting a planned unit development, master development plan approval for this site, which would allow for certain deviations that they are requesting. There are 6 sections of the zoning ordinance those deviations are being requested for. Specifically building height, in particular with regards to the building height, this would be unoccupiable space, more enclosed mechanical features, but there is some additional building height deviation beyond the 50-foot height. I'll go through each of these as we continue through the presentation. Additional deviations related to parking, fencing, landscaping, lighting, architectural standards. Now, all of the proposed deviations can be mitigated through the site design, screening, landscape plans, setbacks, and staff and the Planning Commission are supportive of the requested deviations. So starting with the first request, as I said, it would be to increase the maximum building height. The primary height component would be this tower here, which contains equipment that the applicant's proposed plans for phase 1 don't require a 120-foot height, but to avoid having to come back for additional amendments to the PUD as the phases come on, the applicant is requesting that 120-foot height. The secondary component would be the occupiable area of the building. That would not exceed 75 feet. Now, the building plans with this first phase show a maximum building height of 70 feet, which is that exhaust tower that I mentioned here, and this is the elevation of the proposed first phase. Otherwise, the remainder of that building is at 40 feet, which is within the maximum code. Off-street parking and loading, the applicant is requesting that the parking requirements for the site are based on their actual employment and expected usage, based on the highly specialized nature of the development rather than the prescribed ratio of the zoning ordinance. There is additional room for additional parking if needed, and staff finds that it is unlikely the site will change ownership or the use would change. Part of the reason why the code has prescriptive parking ratios is for if, for example, a warehouse is built, it has a specific parking need, some other use comes in, it might be different from the site. We have to plan for the future what other uses of a site might be. In this case, that's not really going to happen. This is always going to be what it's being built as. The third request would be related to fencing standards. This is similar to what Meta requested with its planned unit development, and it has to do with safety or security fencing. This would allow fencing above 8 foot in height and enhance security features. The applicant provided imagery of what that could look like. Staff finds that this requested deviation is mitigated by the enhanced landscaping that the applicant shows on their landscaping plan, which I will get into here in the next slide or two. The fencing will likely not be seen from any public rights of way, just given the level of screening for the site. So leading into that, the applicant is proposing a landscape plan that contains more than 50% coniferous trees. The code standard is that at least 50% are deciduous. So the request is to allow for more coniferous trees, which allow for better screening, and year-round screening, which deciduous trees drop their leaves in the fall. You can see the plan, landscape plan before you. Those trees are placed all along the Blaine Avenue frontage and entering 51st Street, around the substations here. Zoomed in, you can kind of see how that is broken down. There are still deciduous trees mixed in, as well as boulevard trees, which are deciduous along the 151st Street. That's all consistent with the city code, as well as the internal landscaping of the site, which the Planning Commission found to meet the requirements of the code related to parking lot landscaping, etc. But you can see deciduous and ornamental trees placed in there. The applicant, their lighting plan shows illumination beyond 1 lumen or a foot candle at the property boundary. The applicant is requesting flexibility in relation to that to meet the security needs that their ultimate clientele and users who will be hiring them to do their testing would require. Staff finds that, again, based on the level of landscaping that would be provided outside the security fencing, any increased lighting would be contained within the site itself. And therefore, staff is supportive of and recommending approval of that deviation as well. Also note, the site is not adjacent to any existing or planned residential uses. With regards to the architectural standards, the applicant is seeking a deviation from some of the prescribed architectural articulation of walls. The code requires walls be articulated when they are longer than 100 feet. Based on the shape of the building, the mix of materials used being a higher standard than what we would typically see from such a large building, staff is supportive in recommending approval of that deviation as well. You can see the rendering here, the mix of materials. This front area showing glass paneling with vertical perforated fins to create shade on the inside. There is translucent metal or translucent paneling, and then other metal paneling, and even the concrete walls themselves feature a texture and vertical treatment to provide some visual interest as well. So based on those additional architectural enhancements, staff finds that the intent of the ordinance is still met with that flexibility in the articulation required. So just going over the overall site plan with the council here so you can see how it'll work. The initial phase of the project will have the main entrance into the site on the far west side, and then the ring road will ultimately be built out around the whole site. But the first phase will just have the road coming in here and going around. Part of the reason for this westernmost access at this initial phase is that the engineering building itself will define where that main entrance point, the final design of the engineering building will delineate where that main entrance point will be. So this is all permanent roadways, and these are all temporary until this engineering phase building is designed, as well as subsequent phases. And then this is just zooming in on this first phase. There's three main components. This first building one, which contains the wind tunnel. Then there's a mechanical building, a mechanical yard area that is completely enclosed by a matching wall. From the side, it will look like just an extension of the building itself. And then an accessory building here. All three buildings feature similar treatments exterior to their exteriors to maintain that campus-like feel. So this is a little bit clearer depiction of that layout here. There's these structures here are piping and things like that that connect the buildings with the main testing building. These are the elevations of those sites. So this would be the south side of this building. You can see the vertical treatment to the concrete. There's translucent panels to provide lighting while maintaining some screening. Here is that exhaust tower here with some vertical concrete fins for architectural interest. And then this is that glass office research space in there. And then from the other side, so if you were to flip this around, this is that glass area. And then this is that translucent panel. So much higher level of architectural consideration than what we would see in some of our concrete tip-up warehouse buildings in other parts of the city. So again, this is the rendering showing what that first building will look like during the day. And then at night, you can see the translucent paneling on the top and bottom here, and then that glass windows. And then this is just a shot of the mechanical building 1B here in the northeast portion. This would be that mechanical yard. There's metal panel screening wall with vertical treatments. And then this is the building itself. And then just finally, this is that southeast building. And this has some translucent panels there. And then that vertically treated concrete walls. And then this is just the other side of that. So again, going over the landscaping, you can see I touched on it briefly, but significant landscaping around the public rights of way. Additional landscaping will come in as this phase is included for development. But the landscaping itself, other than the fact that there's more coniferous trees, did meet the code requirements. And then just zoomed in again on that. I want to touch on the environmental remediation that has taken place here. This is always something that comes up and is a sensitive topic with relation to development within Umore Park. This is the third piece of land that the University of Minnesota has sold for development within Umore. The first two pieces of land where Amber Fields was developed and where Meta is building its data center, those were chosen because there was no contamination that required remediation on those sites. The applicant's site did contain some areas of contamination, mainly asbestos. That has already been removed. The site has been remediated, but you can see this map here shows where those testing wells were dug. The yellow spots show where tests were taken that were showed no contamination or no areas that required remediation. The red spots showed areas of contamination that do need cleanup. They didn't just randomly choose a bunch of yellow spots around the areas. If they identified contamination, then they drilled more holes to ascertain exactly where that contamination was located so that the cleanup would be targeted in those areas that would need it. Also, because this use will generate some level of noise just due to its nature, the applicant provided an analysis of the potential noise, and this is based on the design of the project. It's using the limits set by the Pollution Control Agency as a basis for the analysis, and then the project itself was designed with those noise limits in mind. And then the analysis does show that the noise generated will fall within limits well before it reaches residential properties. That isn't to say that the city doesn't have enforcement action or wouldn't be able to work with the applicant to identify concerns in the future should they arise. To provide a little bit of background here, the noise rule limits from the MPCA And we're going to focus on the nighttime noise because those are the lower threshold, because that's when things need to be quieter for residential areas. L10 is intermittent noises. No, L10 is ongoing background noise. L50 is intermittent noises. Those intermittent ones need to be quieter. Also note that the design for the first phase, they use a limit of 52 and 45, and that's because they were basically analyzing using both buildings, phase 1 and phase 2 combined. When you have two noise sources, they don't double the amount of noise, just like two vacuums wouldn't create the sound of a jet engine, but they do increase about 3 decibels. So the design for the facility is basically placed 3 decibels below what would be the limit, or analyzed at 3 decibels below what would be the limit in order to account for that second phase. And just to give you a general understanding of what noise means and how it could relate to certain things, we're really looking at this 40 to 50, 50 to 60 area here. And these are the sound levels that you would find in a normal home, certainly lower than what you might find if you were along County Road 42, especially during rush hour. So also context of where the site sits in relation to residential development. The closest residential or school are 3,250 feet away, and that's measured from the property boundary. Now, from the actual site of the first building, which would be where the noise is generated, it's actually further away. This is showing a 3,600 foot radius from the actual source of the noise. So based on the design of the site, you can see here for the continuous noise sources at 45 decibels, that is, the level of noise falls to that at 2,100 feet, 2,170 feet. When you actually get to where the houses are in relation to the source of the noise, it's lower than that. And then again, this is just showing where it reaches that 45 decibel distance. So by the time it reaches residents, it would be even lower because it does kind of drop at a somewhat standard straight rate. And then for intermittent noises here, because they're intermittent, they are allowed to be a little bit louder because they are only occurring every so often for a certain duration. It reaches that 52 decibel level at 510 feet. And then as it leaves, it goes further. Where it would reach the people, it falls even lower. You can see this map here showing that radius of what that means from a top-up thing. So the analysis was included with the packet. Happy to answer any questions or defer to the applicant if they have any additional information. But the council is being asked to take four actions tonight. The first being to adopt an ordinance. This is the formal action to rezone from B2 to B2 PUD. The second one being to adopt a resolution approving the plats, preliminary and final. The third being a motion to adopt a resolution approving the PUD master development plan, and then lastly, approve the actual plan unit development agreement that the applicant would be signing, which would create the zoning for the site officially and record it against the property. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions. The applicant is here with several representatives who can speak to anything more specific and definitely outside of my topic of knowledge.
All right, thank you, Mr. Nemchuk. To council, any questions you want to start with? Go ahead.
I have a question around the Excel area.
Yeah.
Question number 1 is, who's paying for this? Is it something the applicant is paying for it, or is it being paid for by, utility bills paid for
Sure.
by our residents?
Sure.
That's question number 1. And then number 2 is that transformer area dedicated to Northwind, or will other people be able to use the energy that comes from that area.
Sure. I would defer to the applicant on that. I would say that typical with how Meta did their process, they worked with the utility provider on determining who ended up having the cost share. But ultimately, that would be between them and Excel, and
Okay.
I think they can answer that question.
Okay.
And just one other question of like who's paying for what, but around the pollution remediation, I think that's been a big deal here in town because that land has been a troubled plot of land for a while. And so happy to see the pollution remediated, but do you know who paid for that cleanup?
Sure. I don't know specifically what the cost share would be between the applicant and the university,
Okay.
but they can certainly clarify that as well.
All right.
Okay. Paul, did you have any?
No.
All right,
Good.
then we can ask for the applicant to come up. You've heard 3 questions. Welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to address the council. I'm sure that there is actually nothing outside of Mr. Nemchek's knowledge, but I'll try to increase.
For our record, could you state your name and
Sure. My name is Justin Pierce. I'm the program director at Northwind. So as far as answering the questions, for the first question on the cost of the transformer site, we are bearing that cost internally. That is a part of the deed funding that we have through the state is helping to pay for that. So that will not be passed on to the residents of Rosemount. That the cost for implementing that capability is within Northwind. The power itself is yet to be determined on how our usage agreement with Xcel Energy will finally fall out. We expect that most of the energy produced by that site will be used by the facility itself. So any additional capability or excess capacity on the transformer site may be given back to the community, but that's yet to be determined.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. And then from the pollution side of things, the remediation on the land is also a cost is borne by us. We had in our agreement with the university the opportunity to have an additional escrow account that allowed for additional remediation if the need arose. It did arise, and so we are partnering with the university on that cleanup to affect the entire cleanup of the site. We expect that when the foundations for the buildings are finally put in, especially for C1, this first capability that we're looking at, we will be able to then fully remove that site from the environmental watch list.
okay? Any other questions?
No.
I just wanted to confirm. I know that last week there was an announcement, so you're no longer the Minnesota Aerospace Complex. Max, can you, I think I got it here, but I'll let you say it. I understand it's Arctic now for this new facility is your acronym.
That's correct. So the name has changed from the Minnesota Aerospace Complex to the Aerospace and Hypersonic Research and Testing Complex, pronounced Arctic, because the government needs acronyms.
I would have had it reversed, but okay. Hardick doesn't work. I get it. Could you speak to anticipating approvals and going forward? What do you see here for the schedule?
Absolutely. As we're looking at the development of requirements in partnership with our federal customers and our federal partners on this, we have a number of major milestone reviews that are coming up to set those requirements. As those requirements are set, we expect to continue to expand the requirements for the buildings around the site and around the complex to incorporate the additional capabilities that are anticipated. While the actual dates for those are yet to be determined and may change, and we expect to be coming back to the council within the next 6 months for the next capability, and then within the next 6 months after that for any additional capabilities that may exist.
So this initial phase 1, what do you anticipate?
As far as
Construction and
Oh, sure. We are planning on beginning the mass grading portion as soon as we have the appropriate approvals. And so we have equipment on site now, ready to begin that process. In the springtime, we expect to begin with the foundational construction on this capability. The additional capability with the engineering building that was mentioned by Mr. Nemchek, in partnership with the University of Minnesota, we're developing the requirements for that building and then the funding sources in order to be able to identify what the full size of that building and the capabilities will be. As that's determined, that will accelerate. It's a different funding stream internal to Northwind for the majority of that building. And so there's portions that we may be able to accelerate as we continue moving forward.
Okay, so more to come. All right. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any follow-up?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I do just want to remind the council, as Justin said, the second phase any subsequent phases would require public approvals, site plan reviews, also platting, because they're outlotting the remainder of the site. They would have to come and get plat approval to further subdivide it, which is consistent with how development has happened in the city prior, and the council's pretty familiar with that process. So this is just for the first phase. Anything coming down the line would go through the public review process of the Planning Commission and Council. Site plan reviews, while are the sole purview of the Planning Commission, plats would still come before the Council, and you would be seeing the second phases, site plans and things like that.
Alrighty. With that then, we've got 4 motions in front of us. I'll start with the first one. Motion to adopt an ordinance approving a zoning map amendment to rezone the subject property from B2 employment to B2 PUD employment planned unit development. Is there a second?
Second.
Got a motion by Weisensell, second by Essler. Roll, please.
Aye.
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 That passes 4-0. We'll look to the second motion. Would someone like to
Sure.
move that?
I'll make a motion to adopt a resolution approving the Northwind Addition preliminary and final plats, subject to conditions.
Second.
A motion by Fresky, second by Klimpel. Roll, please.
Weisensell,
Aye.
Fresky,
Aye.
Essler,
Aye.
Klimpel,
Aye.
That passes 4-0. The third motion.
I'll make a motion to adopt a resolution approving a planned unit development master development plan with rezoning of the site from B2 employment to B2 PUD employment planned unit development subject to conditions.
I'll second that. Motion by Essler, second by Weisensell. Roll, please.
Fresky,
Aye.
Essler,
Aye.
Klimpel,
Aye.
Weisensell,
That passes 4-0. And the last motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the planned unit development master development plan agreement for Northwind and authorize the mayor and city clerk to enter into the agreement.
I'll second.
I have a motion by Klimpel, second by Fresky. Roll, please.
Essler,
Aye.
Klimpel,
Aye.
Weisensell,
Aye.
Fresky,
Aye.
And that completes the fourth motion, 4-0, and completes all actions associated with 9A.
Thank you.
Congratulations and best of luck moving forward. With the completion of 9A, we'll go ahead and move on to 9B, the selection of the construction manager at risk for indoor ice. Mr. Schultz.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. This evening before you is a request, a recommendation, I should say, to hire a construction manager at risk for the indoor ice rink project and to enter into a standard AIA agreement as approved by the city attorney. The city recently sent out a request for qualifications to a number of firms in the Twin Cities that have experience with construction manager at risk services that have been involved with ice sheets in the past. We sent out 7 proposals. We received 3 submittals from 3 companies that are considered to be some of the best out there in the Twin Cities, along with the other 4 that were not able to submit proposals for certain reasons. They didn't have the right staff. They just took on a lot of projects. They're just, we're glad that they were honest and upfront with us, making sure that they didn't put us in a position that we would be hurting as we move forward. And so the proposals, each detailed information about project staffing, past experience, pricing, and references. The construction manager at risk delivery method is something that we have not used here before at the city of Rosemount. We are familiar with it. And we feel that, when you select a construction manager at risk firm early, they are involved with design, they are involved with pricing, they are involved with delivery, quality control, scheduling, and things like that. And so we feel like that it's going to benefit us in the long run to have somebody involved with us early in this process. I think you might remember that we are currently working with JLG as a designer, the architect firm. This would be a construction manager company, would actually be doing and be responsible for the construction. And so they would oversee the subcontractors in all construction phases. Looking at how we typically have done projects in the past, we typically have gone through design, public bid, and then we go with the low bidder. Back in 2023, August 1, the state of Minnesota, through state statutes, authorized Minnesota municipalities, including cities, counties, and school districts, to use the CMAR process for projects over $175,000. And so this is fairly new to the state of Minnesota, but I can tell you that in talking to JLG and the architect team, that 80% of their last several ice rink projects since 2023 have been CMAR projects. They just find that it's the right way to get things done. There's a lot more control over the project and who's working on it. And like I say, we feel like this is going to be a good step in the right direction for us. And so we are definitely recommending that we go through the process of getting someone on board, which means that we had a competitive RFQ, RFP process, similar to what the state requires of their own construction projects. And so we did have 3 firms that interviewed. They all have previous ice rink experience and remodeling experience. They all had strong references. They all had experienced staff. And the pricing from the firms is listed below. Like I spoke with the city administrator who was on our interview team, along with our arena manager and then an architect. It was really splitting hairs trying to figure out, who we really thought would be the best for us right now. After reviewing all the proposals and interviewing the 3 firms, getting their pricing, staff is recommending that the city hire RJM Construction to be our CMAR for the indoor rink project. I guess a couple of reasons that really stood out is that they are coming off a series of very fresh rink projects. They just got done building the rink down in Northfield. So we feel like they're going to have really good up-to-date pricing. They're going to have up-to-date contractors that they know that they should be able to rely on. And so we feel like that information is going to help us hit the ground running when the time comes for us to start moving dirt here in 2026. And so that is the recommendation that you have in your packet. Again, they're involved with the Northfield rink, the Maple Grove rink. They're just again, they're a really good firm, interviewed really well as did the other 2. But we just feel right now RJM is probably the best for us to go with. So the recommendation is in your packet, and I can stand for questions.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. The floor is open. Council members, any questions, issues, concerns?
Nope.
All righty, thank you.
Well, I think people are going to ask what's next.
Yep.
Like if you could give very high
Yeah.
level 3 or 4 milestones,
Well,
how this comes to fruition.
Yeah, what's next is we are preparing to come out to the public with a educational update to the community about a bunch of projects we're working on. We will be doing that here in the very near future. We are going to set some dates for some public open houses that are just informational open houses for people to learn more about the projects, the Umore Ball Field and Erickson Park and Central Garage, Central Park expansion, indoor ice, things like that. And so, that will be, this is kind of a behind the scenes thing, but we're getting ready to come out with all of the public information because we really want to engage the public to get feedback from them, share what's happening, share some of the exciting opportunities that are going to be presented here in the near future. And then we will keep moving forward and go from there.
Thank you.
Okay. Would you like to move the motion?
Sure. I'll make a motion to recommend the City Council hire RJM Construction to be the construction manager at risk for the indoor rink project and enter into a standard AIA agreement as approved by the city's attorney.
Second.
I have a motion by Fresky, second by Essler. Roll, please.
Klimple.
Aye.
Weisenseld.
Aye.
Fresky.
Aye.
Essler.
Aye.
And that completes item 9B, 4-0 approved. Completing our new business this evening, we'll move on to announcements. First up, city staff updates. Mr. Martin.
Thank you, members of the council. I think Mr. Egger has our only update for tonight on summer road construction projects.
All right.
Yeah, thank you, Administrator Martin. Wanted to just share some pretty good news with the council that we're on the home stretch with our Connemara-Akron roundabout project. The final pavement is scheduled to go down this coming Saturday, so that's the last major step that we have to do on the path towards completion and reopening it. There are still a couple of other things that are still necessary, though, to finish it off and allow traffic to flow through there, mainly being the lighting and the striping. So those things are going to happen rapid fire next week after that final paving occurs. And then we should be in a position to reopen it towards the tail end of next week as long as weather cooperates. So wanted to give a good update on that. It's been a very good experience for us working with the contractor on this one. Frankly, it couldn't have gone better in my opinion. And I've seen a lot of projects throughout my career and on both ends of the spectrum, but this one I am very pleased with, and I'm glad that timing worked out for this particular project because we know it was a sensitive one for the community and getting around and highly desired. So that's what I had there.
All right.
Yep.
Thank
Well
you.
done.
Thank you.
Well done.
We'll move on to item 10B, upcoming community calendar. With that, we have the Parks and Natural Resource Commission meeting will be on August 24th from 7 to 8 p.m. here at City Hall. The Planning Commission will follow the next evening, August 25th from 6:30 to 7:30, again here at City Hall. And then the Youth Commission will be meeting on Thursday, August 27th from 3:45 to 4:45 at the Steeple Center, I believe. The next City Council work session will be on September 1st from 5 to 6 p.m. here at City Hall, and followed by the City Council meeting 7 to 8 p.m. that evening. And just looking out a little bit farther, City Hall will be closed on Labor Day, September 7th, 2026. So with that, is there any additional information, business to come before council? Seeing the nods, no. I move to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and second to adjourn the meeting. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.